Welcome, ladies and gents, to another Yorkshire Rose episode, and today we are trying to infiltrate the den of Vladimir. But before we get to the den of Vladimir, I've heard that just round that corner is some of his most feared generals here in London. So before we crack on with today's game against Millwall, let's catch up on some games. In a close game against Forth, a single Addy Pangol was the difference. Sadly, for the wrong side. After 10 games without a goal, Big Girthy Meat opened our second catch-up game in style. Firstly, getting a 1-minute opener before then doubling down on the 32nd minute. Byers, 2 minutes later, then got in on the fun himself before Brandon pushed the player over for Bournemouth to pull a pity goal back. All before a shift up front secured us a vital 1-0 win against QPR. Okay, so with a rather successful catch-up out of the way, it is of course time to head on here to the notebook, have a little catch-up on a little bit of news before we head on into the den. So first of all, Nathaniel Klein has some developmental concerns, and to be fair to him, he shouldn't really be sitting on our bench. He is a backup for both left and right-hand side of defence, but he's probably beyond that, to be honest. So he wants to start more games. Personally, I don't think he's good enough to replace Shaking Stevens or Brandon Fleming, so he's not going to be starting any games. So I agreed to loan him out, and we've agreed on that one. So we're going to be looking, of course, to try and loan him out. I'm not sure who's going to take his spot on the bench. Maybe Tittle, I guess, for the one to take his spot. Anyway, Lewis Shipley picked up an injury. I believe that was in the whole game, yes, last episode against Hull. Not a very big injury. He sustained a bruised shin, 1 to 2 days. That also, Shipley still has around 9 months left on his current loan whatever. Don't know why he's telling us about his loan contract. He's got 1 to 2 day injury. Doesn't matter. He's back from it. He was back from it before the first game, I believe. So not any issue. The next one is potential issue with Berahino. Now, Berahino, by the way, has also been called up for the international squad as well. So congratulations, Berahino. And, well, he wants to be a regular starter, and I think that's reasonable. To be fair, he doesn't see himself as a regular starter for us. He just wants to be a regular starter. I'm just letting you know that Berahino doesn't see himself at the minute. I think he believes he's not good enough to be a regular player here, and he's not good enough to be a regular starter at least. He's a super sub by my eyes. But if you want to go elsewhere, try and revive his career for the last couple of years, then all the best to Berahino. But I would have liked it if he could have just retired here. Would have been nice. Anyways, I offered to sell him. He then, of course, handed in his transfer request, which doesn't make any sense. If I've agreed to sell you, just let me sell you. You don't really need to hand it in. Anyways, Prisbeck has developmental concerns as well. A third player now with developmental concerns. Got a lot of mental issues going on at this club, clearly. Well, I am the manager, so what do you expect? Anyways, I'm just letting you know that Prisbeck doesn't see himself at the minute. He wants to start more games. He, of course, was our starting goalkeeper last year. Not as good as our new goalkeeper, George. In fact, I want to drop him down to the bench anyway, so Prisbeck would end up being our reserve. And, well, I offered to loan him out. He rejected the idea of being loaned out. Don't know why. Anyways, he then, concluded, I concluded from that I'll need to sell him. And then he backed down and said he'd rather fight for a place. So, he'd rather fight for a place here than me guarantee him starting football elsewhere, but still contracted to us. So he can either still be contracted to us and play games every week, or he can be contracted to us, sit on our bench and not play games. Prisbeck, you're a weird one. Very weird one indeed. Anyways, next up is York Mentoring Month in Review. We of course had one of these last episode, I believe. This time it's Sam Fielding and Joe Rowley. Now, Sam Fielding has picked up a mixture of personal traits from his mentoring group. So what has he picked up? His sense of loyalty has grown in recent weeks. That's nice, although Sam Fielding, we don't really need him to be honest. But his standard of professionalism seems to have dropped. Okay, he seems less adaptive, less capable of approaching new challenges. He doesn't seem quite as determined as he was before, probably because he's given up and decided, you know what, I just want to stick it out here in York. He's become more loyal, but just He knows he's never going to really play. He's just happy to stick around. Joe Rowley has picked up a mixture of traits as well. He appears to be handling the pressure of expectation much better, which is nice considering he's a starter and he is a player I'm expecting quite a bit from. He looks to be more determined than ever, which is nice. His standard of professionalism seems to have dropped though, which is a little bit disappointing. He has also managed to develop a new trait, play 1-2s, which I think is pretty nice considering he does sit in the middle of the pack and helps us out in that sense. But it is of course time to crack on with today's game. Okay, ladies and gents, match day is finally upon us, and we have plenty of other games to be keeping an eye on. First of all, Hull City versus Sunderland. Now, you already know who I want to win this one, Hull City, but is it really the best thing for us? Probably. Sunderland being on the same amount of points as us, a goal behind us, having that opportunity to leapfrog us. Hull City, pick up a victory, drag yourselves away from the relegation zone, drag Sunderland a bit further down into it, and let's end up having mid-table scraps. Hopefully we can stay up here and City can come and join us. We then have Luton, who is hosting Ipswich. We of course want Ipswich. They are up in second against 17th place Luton. We of course then have our match. We want us to win, of course. We then want Bournemouth to beat Peterborough. Peterborough bottom of the table, Bournemouth in 8th. We did of course get our upset against them. QPR is taking on Portsmouth. It'd be nice if those two could draw, but if it can't be a draw, I guess Portsmouth losing it would be ideal, because Portsmouth, Swansea, Peterborough have a 2-point gap between them and QPR, although Swansea has a game in hand, so they could technically drag themselves out, but would be nice if we could just get a little bit of a gap going between them as well. Although QPR, to be fair, has a little bit of a gap between them and Derby, who also has a game in hand. So if we beat Millwall here today, they are down, all the way in 20th, with Derby having that opportunity to leapfrog them with that game in hand. Or perhaps just on the goal difference, you know? Derby might pick up a draw. Anyways, speaking of Derby County, they are away to Stoke. We of course want Stoke to win that one. Helps us out. Although if we win, I guess a draw in that one would be quite useful if we want to push further up the table. So we're not too fussed about that one. Fulham, Reading, I'm more thinking relegation scrap still. If we can get ourselves, I don't know, plus 15, 20 points ahead of our games, then I might start thinking about moving up the table. Right now I'm still in avoid relegation mode. Avoid relegation mode. We're not that far away. We've only got 5 more points than games. If we end up drawing a bunch of games or losing a bunch of games, we can be dragged easily back down into the mess. So, West Brom takes on Swansea. We, of course, want West Brom in that one, but enough rambling from me. Who is in our team here today? But first of all, what is that turnout? Millwall! You're supposed to be passionate fans. We're supposed to have passionate fans who travel down here to London. There's only 11,341 tickets that are being sold from a 21,146 capacity. Millwall, get your act together. Get your act together. Very good pitch condition, I'll give you that. But it's a breezy, drizzly 12 degreesy. And we're, of course, going to apply the opposition instructions. So, our team here today is George in goal, a backline of Fleming, Terry, Shipley, and Shakin Stevens. On the wing is Lou Barla and Hall. In between is Byers. Central midfield will be controlled by Rowley and Goss. And up front is the big FME bench consisting of Prisbeck, Klein, Adiepan. We have Allen, Williams, Lawless, and Vokes. Now, you're probably wondering, why is Adiepan on the bench? Well, if you look over on the right-hand side, he needs a rest. Ideally, we're not going to use him at all, but he's on the bench if we need a centre-back to come on. I'm trying to give him a rest. Hopefully I get to give him a rest, but we have to have a centre-back who is decent sitting on the bench, and I didn't fancy risking it with the likes of Fielding. So, he's sitting on there as cover. We also are resting a secondary player, as you will have known from the lineup. It is, of course, Sorensen. We're resting Sorensen. He is 3.5 star, 4-star potential, 15 appearances so far, and well, he's been okay. He hasn't been out of this world. A 6-7. Also, look at this rating. Will Adiepan has been on fire. Not too shabby from Byers. Also, Shaking Stevens came in, done a good job so far, and George, not too shabby either. 7 clean sheets in 15 appearances. Not too bad, Georges. 4 goals for Byers right now. A couple of goals elsewhere as well. Not too bad. But, as you can see, the team talk has gone down well but we want the result to go down well. As you can see, we are taking on Vladimir Ivic, but still Vladimir. 4 changes have been made to their lineup, and we are going to try and motivate them. So punch fists. Meteor's given you a lot of credit lately. Go out there and put on a wavy display. We've got nothing to lose here. We know how good we are. Let's show everyone what we're capable of. Goss only wants to show everyone what we're capable of. I guess everyone else wants to keep it a secret, and yeah, just pull it out of the bag when we turn up at games. Football Manager. Why do you do this? Why do you do this to me? He's just returned. Just. Literally just. And now he's injured. What's up with him? 4th minute, lower leg injury. I have a feeling this is going to be like a 6 month, 8 month. It's going to be a ridiculous length. I feel it. I feel it in my fingers. I feel it in my toes. Awful song quoting as well, but QPR, by the way, 1-0 down to Portsmouth already. That's Taylor. She'll throw it in. Jesus! They're going to try and stoke us. Whew. Thought they had Rory Delap for a second. What on earth was that throw? He launched it. Nottingham Forest, by the way, 1-0 up against Blackburn. Luton's gone 1-0 up against Ipswich. Ipswich, come on. Gosso. It's lining up for the free kick. Can he make use of this opportunity? It's a great spot. Goss! Oh. Gosh, you're supposed to show me why you're supposed to be starting. Put a bit of pressure on me to start you instead of... Oh! Sorensen. I got a little distracted there. Sunderland 1-0 up against Hull City. We also have a second goal for Portsmouth. So, Portsmouth game's not going particularly well for us, trying to survive. It's also not going great in terms of other games as well, with Ipswich losing their match. Big Garthy Meat, though, gets it over to Williams. Williams has a nice little opportunity here to whip the ball in, but can he do it? It's been closed down, and then he just gives it to Saar. Terrible cross. Thankfully, though, they're just going to hoof it out straight back to Shipley on the halfway line, and we can start trying to build something. So, Shipley up to Byers. Byers turns, tries to pass it through to... Oh! Oh, look! Big Garthy. He shouldn't have had a chance to get that. Lovely interception originally. Ends up with him passing it back and it ending up with Big Garthy. I was disappointed it didn't originally get through to Lubala, but it ended up becoming just as dangerous. Whew. That was wild. Lubala, 6.4. By the way, Big Garthy, 6.7 right now. Loved those goals in the catch-up. Absolute beauty, especially that first one. But, lads, you know what? I'm not happy with that performance. We need to be better. We need to be better. So get out there, play better, show us something else in this second half. Let's pick up all 3 points. I know we're away from home. I know this is a difficult away fixture, but let's put the pressure on. They haven't got any fans here. It's empty. Most of the stadium's empty, lads. You haven't got the pressure of a hostile crowd. You can have a pressure of a hostile manager if you give away the ball like that too often, though. That was terrible. Absolutely terrible. Also, Shakin' Stevens is shattered. Look at that. He's playing a 7 rating, though. He's playing a 7 rating. That kind of sucks. So, I'm probably going to have to take Shakin' Stevens off pretty soon. I'll take him off maybe 58. A little bit earlier than usual. Shakin' Stevens coming down this right-hand side. Gets it up to Williams. Williams passes it inside to the Big Garthy Meat. We also need to remember we've already lost a substitute due to that injury on the 5th minute. But Rowley is going to come at them here. Double manned, plays it back to Byers. Up to Big Garthy. That was an interesting header, Garthy. Heading it out to the right-hand side, and now it's with Bennett. Shakin' Stevens. Not sure what that was. Someone stop them, please. It's all the way back to Buckley. He gets it over to Saville. Don't think it's Jimmy. Back to Saar. Now with Saville. Saville to Bennett. Bennett, will he maybe turn and pass it to the left? No, don't listen to me. Don't listen to me, please. Oh, Millwall. Why? I knew what you should have done, and you did it. Why did you do it? Just ignore me. Ignore me. I'm the opposition manager. You should be thinking, I'm trying to tell you to do the opposite of what you should be doing. Not exactly what you should be doing. Right, Jaden Williams, tired. Byers, Williams, how are you tired? Come on, Byers. And Shaking Stevens. So, Shaking Stevens is going to have to go off. He's been playing well, but he's tired. Lubala is struggling over on this left-hand side. Who can we put there? We can move Brandon up, but it would mean having to bring on Adiapan. That's a problem. Who else can we go with? Rowley can go out there. Rowley, go over there. And Alan can slide into this middle. In fact, is Alan the best choice? No. Lawless. Let's get Lawless with this. Let's get Lawless. So, looking bad. Looking very bad here in Millwall. Quixote. Quixote? Don't know why I wanted to say Quixote. I had Jack Quixote on my brain for some reason, but... Right, lads. I demand more. This is terrible. We are down to 14th place right now. Right below Stoke. 1 goal difference, but still, below Stoke. Right. As you can see, we've only had 6 shots in total, 2 on targets. Come on, lads, let's push up. Don't want to go very attacking because that just makes a mess, quite frankly. Hull City's managed to tie it up 1-1, which is nice. Anything else going our way? No, Luton is 3-1 against Ipswich. Goss whips it in, big Geffy meat. We saw the beautiful goals he managed to score in the catch-up games. And then he misses something like that. Geffy, bring the ball down. You don't have to hit it first time every time. What a disappointing game. 5 minutes in, right back just comes back. Sorry, right midfielder just comes back, gets injured. We're going to need some wingers. That is what I'm thinking. We need some wingers. Because Lubala is not performing at this level. I don't expect him to. He's 2.5-star rated now comparatively to the new players. He just isn't there. He's a League One player. We then have Hall. He's got an injury. Williams can do a decent job. As you can see, a 6.8 over on that wing, but he needs to learn to cross. I think left-hand-sided winger, then a right-hand-sided is the focus. And teach Big Geffy Meat to just start taking a touch. If he starts taking a touch, he'll score 3 or 4 times as many goals as he does. That's a thank you all for joining us in this one. Where are we going next? I have noted down. So, where are we due next? I believe, if the fixture list doesn't change on us, of course, we shall be heading to Sunderland. So, I thank you all for joining us. I hope you all have a lovely night, and goodbye.